This program is brought to you in part by SalCal Real Estate Connections.
And yes, once again, Dave, we're back at your tractor barn for the Berlin Fair. And boy, let me tell you, it looks like you've done some work in here in this beautiful tractor behind us. I think it's got a little special meaning, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does, Larry. Unfortunately, one of our best friends in here that helped out at the museum here made many donations, not only financially, but also physically. Loved to work down here, loved farming, and was quite a family man. Andy Chatlis, who lived over on Orchard Road over in Berlin here in Kensington. We grew up together, and he's been very influential, and we felt that we had a little tribute, and we're going to use him as our centerpiece this year. His wife was just astounded at the thought of it, and she just loved this whole situation that we put together.
Yeah, I know he was a great guy, and the farming community has always been very close.
Oh yeah, well, he goes back quite a ways. He started out with the Dornfried family, which we have several of their vehicles in here, and we've filmed and everything, and they're here to farm all M's and all. And as he was, we got pictures of him sitting on a Bob's lap when he was only a little kid and all. Yeah. So he goes back. Then he went into Chucky Bradley, who right now Alan Hall owns the farm over there near Timberland Golf Course, and Chucky gave him the whole thing just to keep the farming aspect in Berlin.
Wow, that's special, let me tell you.
Oh yeah, and everything that we have in here is all Berlin stuff that's got history behind it, and the people that come in here, they can't say enough about it. They've had one of their fathers or a grandfather.
You know, Dave, every time I talk to people about the fair, what they like the most, they always mention this tractor barn, let me tell you.
Well, you know, I'll tell you, Larry, it's not hard to keep this thing going. Once you start it, it's like a snowball. Yeah. People keep coming, and they want to donate to the fair here. They want to donate tractors and all. This year, we've had 6 tractors that were donated to us this year. It's unbelievable. They come out of the woodwork. They want to, and they're not something that's. They're very restorable. Yeah. Tractors. You know, anywhere from a Cub to a Ford 2N, 9N, or Ford 2000 that we wound up using this year at the fair here for grooming mower.
Let me tell you, every time I go by your house in the middle of the night, I still see the garage light on. So that's telling me something. You're staying busy, buddy.
Oh yeah, we have a lot of fellows that come by. In fact, a couple of days ago, I come home from the fair here at 9 o'clock at night, and I almost tripped over the porch over there. On the bench over there, it was 20 little model tractors in boxes still with dust all over them, and they're brand new though. In the boxes, they're worth more in the box. But I brought them down here. We put them in, and I hate to say it, but I don't know who donated them. Yeah. I'll find out sooner or later though.
You just want to help, that's all.
Yeah, everybody puts in their 2 cents in here, and a little better than 2 cents. They want to be part of this, and we don't forget them, no matter who they are. And believe it or not, Larry, people that come by here, they donate an item. And by gosh, you got to have that item there with their name on it, and they know what was donated, you know?
Sure they do.
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And I know you got some new additions through the tractor barn, yeah. And we're going to cover a few of them as we go along. And I'll tell you, Dave, every year I look so much forward to come down here and see what you got going on. And as usual, you're right on your game.
Well, as usual, we're thankful that Racing Action today, the Nutmeg, can get this whole situation filmed and all. I'm getting up in age, and people say, with all the knowledge you got, you know, if something happens to you, they're going to bury it all. I said, well, someday we're going to go through and narrate the whole thing and put it on a disc so they know just as much as I do.
Let me tell you, Dave, your history here is just beyond belief. You're a legend in your time.
Well, we started out, I was farming back across the street from where I live right now, back in the early 60s. And that's where I started on a farm, and I knew how hard it was for farmers to make $1. And all my life, that was my theory. You know, work hard and you get you're well rewarded.
Let me tell you, I could remember the Doodlebug days, the old Model A's, race car running through the cornfield. Let me tell you, we had some great memories.
Oh, yeah. We had quite a few of them that hang on the back of a Doodlebug, and I popped the clutch out, and the next thing you know, they fell in the mud. And they were hanging onto a pipe used for a brake, and it was funnier than heck. But back in them days, we made our own fun.
That's it.
We had a lot of fun. We didn't get in trouble. You know, you had to work hard, but we played hard, too.
Oh, absolutely.
We raced, and I had Doodlebugs, and I had a good life. I've had people say to me, Dave, if you had a choice, would you live your life over again a little differently? And I say, no way.
And you know, and the odd part about it was when we were kids back then, this fair was special. Let me tell you.
Oh yeah, we started here. I remember back in, and I got pictures here of 1955. Out here when there was only a little shooting range out here with Charlie Danone and them. And George Wilcox and Marilyn Monroe, Di Maria Farm and all, they were showing animals out there. And I mean, we were so poor I couldn't even afford a white shirt. I had a white sweatshirt.
I could remember peeling potatoes for a quarter a basket.
Oh yeah.
For the French fries.
I was picking. I helped pick apples over there for Tchaikovsky and all. Yeah. And I think at the end of the day, I had a stomachache eating so many apples. And he would say, gee, I wouldn't pay you that much. He said, you know, you ate more than you picked, you know. But we had a good time, you know.
Yeah, it was all a great time. Yeah. Well, Dave, I think we're going to move on to some other projects you got new in here. But as usual, buddy, you're right on your game.
Well, that's the same with you guys. I mean, unbelievable. Without you guys narrating this whole museum and everything, I mean, to bring it out in public on a Friday night, everybody that sees it, and they say, Jesus, it's better than Facebook, you know?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. We have fun. Well, Dave, let's move on and see what else we could find. And yes, Dave, we moved over a tractor that looks like it just got restored. Tell me about this tractor.
Yeah, this tractor here, we purchased from Teresa Risaki over on Chamberlain Highway. She had 2 tractors over there. She didn't want them, and I thought she might. She's got several acres of land going up against the mountain there, and I purchased it, got 2 of them, and we decided to finish it up. And that was last year. This year, we took it to the sandblast shop, paint shop over there, and we did it over, and it's a nice addition to the museum.
I tell you, it's beautiful. Now, what model is this?
This is what they call a John Deere M. They had the early numbers were not numbers; they were letters. They went from an A to a B. C's they say they had, but those were real, like in the 29s and 30s. But they had the A, the C, the A, the B, and they had a G, which is the biggest tractor they made, and the M was in between. And they had the tricycle version of this, which was an MT, which was a tricycle, although some of the MTs had a wide front end in them, which was odd. People would say, geez, why do they call it an MT when it's got a wide front end? And this is the M version of it. They're around 18 horsepower. A vertical engine upright, where most of the older ones were horizontal. Yes. They had they used to actually call them a coffin block tractor because it was laid down like a coffin. All the A's and the B's and all that.
Tell me, what kind of farm did she have?
Well, she had a farm in there. She had to take care of one of her sons over there that needed attention, medical attention, and the only way that she could take care of him the way he's supposed to be was to feed him raw goat's milk. Oh, wow. So she had her own goats over there, and would milk the goats
Yep.
because, as you know, you can't buy pasteurized, the regular virgin goat's milk,
Yeah.
and that's what he had to have. So you can't buy it. Everything is pasteurized.
Wow.
So she used to feed them, and she kept them alive with that.
Isn't that special, huh?
Yeah, it's very special. I brought tears to my eyes. And actually, I bought 2 tractors from her, and I went back, and a farmall that was frozen up, the tires were bad. I said to her, if I get it running and all, I'll make a few bucks on it, I'll come back. And I went back with a friend of mine, the neighbor, and we gave her some extra money. And she actually cried. She says, no, people don't do that, you know. But she did. She really appreciated it, and I knew she needed the extra financial help.
Yeah. Well, Dave, I'll tell you, over the years, you've done wonderful things with all those people. I can remember the apple farm over there. I forgot her name. What was her name?
Elizabeth.
Lizzie.
Orzakowski.
Yeah.
She's a little German lady over there, Apple Hill Farm.
Apple Hill.
And that right now it's a housing development over there. Kokomo's doing it. But I helped her out, and she was in there. Actually, at one time, she was telling me when she first came over here, they used to be the Pickle Kings. They used to sell to Silver Lane Pickle Company.
Yes.
And he says, oh, and she was comical. I mean, the hard worker. I mean, she had hands on her to look like a man.
Worked right to the end.
Yeah, and God bless her. I mean, she passed away 4 or 5 years ago, but she still brings good memories of us, you know.
Yeah, I still remember just like it was yesterday, believe me. Well, Dave, let's take another gander around and see what else we could find.
Okay, Larry.
Very good, buddy. Well, Dave, we moved over to a vehicle I have to admit I have never seen, but I got a feeling you know a little bit about this thing.
This is one of the oldies but goodies here. We acquired this from the Coomer Farms over there in New Britain, over by Shuttle Meadow Reservoir. And originally, it's a 1925 cleat track bulldozer. And actually, in that area, there's a lot of wetlands, and they use the dozer to get through the wetlands, whereas your rubber-tired tractors there would get stuck or get hung up. And this actually, they acquired it from the Smith family, Smith brothers, and they were right over there on this side of the reservoir. And yeah, they used it around the farm for spraying and all that, and all different farm work.
Let me tell you, when you just mentioned a magic word, Smith Farm, when I was a little kid, my father used to bring me there because he used to do work with them, selling their peaches and stuff. I could remember that like it was night and day, just like it happened yesterday.
Yeah, you're right. You're right, Larry. Yeah, these.
Or right by the reservoir.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Right by the reservoir. They're right when you're coming out of the reservoir. There's that big rock which they claimed the Indians used to stand on it to keep a lookout for the people that are Indians that were going to attack them or anything. I don't know how true it is, but Felix, the old timer that gave me all this here, God bless him, he passed away. He gave me a lot of knowledge on how the Shuttle Meadow Reservoir was built and all that. Locked in my brain, I got a lot of this stuff over there, and it took a while, but he donated this dozer to the museum here. And this is one of the first items that had been there, and I'm talking 14, 15 years ago.
Yeah, it's special, let me tell you. You just don't see these often.
Yeah, they're still very collectible. Different people love to collect these. And this one I had running, and it had some valve issues. The way the valves are set up, the pins rust out on them, and you lose the compression on them. But it will with a little tender, loving care, you can get them running here.
Now, I'm going to tell you something about that reservoir in New Britain. Believe it or not, that is the best water in the whole state.
Well, I kind of agree with you. The thing of it is, the original history on that I gather from Felix, he said actually the Falls Village Bank owned that out in Falls Village near Canaan, Connecticut. And that whole thing used to be a pasture. and then he rendered or decided to dam it up at the end.
Yeah.
And back in 1955, I've got pictures of them shoring that up because they were afraid the dam was going to let go. And since then, they put up a modern dam and all.
Memory serves me correct. They used to have what they call CC camps, the government, and that's how that thing got built.
Yeah, they did a lot of them. They had special organizations that would go around, and the people instead of just handing them a check for financial aid and all, they would make them work for it. And
Absolutely.
that was it. Remember the old WPA program?
That's it.
Yeah, they had that, and I remember my father talking about that.
My father too. He did it.
He says, we didn't hand anything out. We turned around, and if you actually 9 out of 10 times, most of the old timers there, they were too proud to actually collect a check.
Yeah.
They would do anything, so you don't have to go on security, what you call it, Social Security, but funding,
Yeah, absolutely. Very special. Well, Dave, I think we're going to go on and move on to a different subject, but this thing here has got a special meaning to me. The Smith Farm, I was a little kid. I'm telling you right now, I spent a lot of time there. And with the brothers, I forgot how many brothers there were.
Oh, yeah.
There was like 3 or 4 brothers.
Warren Smith was the kingpin at this point now.
Yeah.
And these dozers in there, I also have another little 29 Caterpillar that we use the same reason. They did plowing and doing disc harrowing and stuff in wetlands. They loved the wets because the tracks wouldn't get hung up.
Well, it makes sense.
Oh yeah, these things would go where the rubber tires wouldn't go. And another thing, I mean, a lot of the old tractors, they had steel wheels on them, and that was pre-war.
Yeah.
Okay, well, a lot of the rubber that they were manufacturing in the 40s and all went to the military to fight the wars,
There's a reason for it. Oh,
and then after that, a lot of them, they called them cutoffs. They cut the rims off, and they would put rubber back on when rubber was feasible.
Yeah, very interesting history.
There's a lot of history on a lot of that stuff that people don't realize, why they did them,
You're like a walking dictionary.
I'll tell you, I know a lot about the different people and different things and you still learn a lot about different things that have happened from old timers.
Oh, yeah, they know. Well, Dave, let's go on to our next subject. And as usual, buddy, you just know what's going on. Okay, Dave, we moved over to another group of tractors that I'm sure got a little history.
Oh, we got a lot of history here, Larry. These are all smaller, I call garden tractors, the garden version, cultivators and stuff like that. They were the small, the agricultural part of the gardens and all. Like little tractors like this Farmall Cub over here that was donated to us, along with 2 other tractors this year from the Haltner family, Robert Haltner and Joni. And he unfortunately passed away. And believe it or not, next thing I know, we get a letter. He said he donated this tractor and 2 other ones. And that's what keeps this museum going.
Oh, absolutely. Without the help of these old farmers, this place would not be full like it is.
Well, they don't want to see these things. I mean, some of them look a little rough, and actually something like this one here, where you could read the letters, and it's actually the way it came out of the field in a working machine. Yeah. If they're not real bad, I leave them alone. They call them petite,
Oh, yeah.
And,
patina,
yeah. And most of these, all these, even that little bee over here was donated. It came out of the Dornfried family. Yeah. And actually Jim Vitelli down at Tunxus Oil, he purchased them all and he donated it to me. He says, "You want it? You take it." I love that museum. Yeah. The one on the other side is a Sator, which is a Japanese tractor, which is a little bit newer but still antique.
Oh, I never heard of that.
Yeah, I didn't know either, but the fellow had it. It was frozen up and all. Wow. He donated it to the museum, and I kind of got it going and running, but we never painted it or nothing because it did have nice letters and everything on it.
Yeah, well, I'll tell you, you mentioned the magic word, the Dornfrieds, Bobby, I tell you.
Well, that's one of the persons that he's my mentor. I loved him. And
Me too. Me too.
I kind of followed his footsteps, and I wound up this year they're going to have a scholarship in his name for the town of Berlin, and I'm going to be the recipient that's representing the Dornfried Scholarship. And I have to name an organization to donate the money to.
Bobby was special.
And Bobby stepped up all the time. He'd help out the Little League. He'd help anybody up. He helped us down here. He built the handicap restroom for me, never charged a nickel. I mean, we supplied the lumber and all, but he was one stickler, I'll tell you.
Let me tell you, 4 o'clock in the morning, he'd be at the hospital, volunteering.
Wheeling people around and everything else. Yeah, he was, you couldn't ask for a person to spend a lot of his time, and he enjoyed doing it.
Nice guy.
Yeah, he would be down to VFW down there, and you'd be mowing the lawn one afternoon and doing church. Like I say, my wife would always see him. My wife and I would see him at church all the time,
Yeah, he was special.
Yeah, Bobby was really, like I say, he was a mentor to me, and I always said, work never killed anybody. The thought of it killed many.
Many is right.
That was my favorite saying. I tell everybody that.
Farmers are a different breed, let me tell you.
I don't.
No. Well, Dave, let's move on to maybe another area. And as usual, Dave, you just got me mesmerized.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you guys. I mean, you step up to the plate all the time.
Thank you, buddy.
Racing action today
good,
and Nutmeg channel. I gotta really commend you guys.
We love this. All right, Dave, let's take a look at something else. Of course, going through the tractor barn with Dave was just special, and every year, I'll tell you what, a absolute wonderful exhibit you'll see here at the Berlin Fair. I mean, this tractor barn is like full to capacity, and boy, believe me, he does an outstanding job, and we look forward to coming here every year to chat with him about the new things that happen. There are things he brought in here, and as you could see, there's no lack of tractors in here. And boy, let me tell you, this tractor museum, I hope it expands, because it's just getting bigger and bigger. Of course, another special exhibit in the barn is the corn bin for the kids. And this year, we got Bryce and his father James getting the bin ready with all the corn. And boy, oh boy, the kids are going to have a good time in there this year. Just special to see these kids involved with this, getting this corn bin ready, and no lack of having fun here, believe me. Next year, if you get a chance, please come to this Berlin Fair. You'll see what it's all about, and you'll guarantee not be disappointed. Please return next week to Racing Action Today, as we will have another show about this fair. Thank you. So we're at the Berlin Fair with Rocco. Are you having a good time?
Yep.
Like it here, huh? Now tell me, you just seeing the pigs, and what else is in there? Goats?
Yep.
Yeah? Were there baby ones?
Yep.
Yeah. Did you see the chickens?
Yep.
Yeah. Did you hold a little chick in your hand?
Yep.
Yeah. How about the go-kart racing? You see that yet?
Yep.
Yeah. We're going to have to get you a little go-kart. I think you're going to be our next race fan, huh?
Okay.
Yeah. You want to race?
Yep.
Okay. Now, you like being here at the fair?
Yep.
What do you like to eat the best?
I don't know.
Yeah? You eat hot dogs?
Yep.
Cotton candy?
No.
No? Okay. How about Mommy? What does she like?
I don't know.
Think she's drinking beer today?
Yep.
Okay. All right, buddy. I know you're a busy guy. We don't want to hold you up. Say hello to everybody in the camera.
Hi.
Say hi.
Hi.
Okay. Very good, buddy. Thank you. Here. Very good, buddy. You were excellent. Have a good time.
This program is brought to you in part by SalCal Real Estate Connections.